Hi there. Welcome to the Teaching Firsties channel. I'm Rachel Hull, a former first grade teacher for 22 years. If you're new here, please make sure to click subscribe so you'll have access to my weekly videos. Today we're going to talk about blending traditional and digital resources for your literacy centers. So I don't know about you, but we all got pretty sick of the word digital around our house in 2020. The novelty of Zoom calls and digital slides and everything wore off pretty quickly. So hopefully you're able to, offer books like real books for your kiddos. In our school corporation, our students could read books in class, but they had to be put in their own book boxes, so they were only touched by one student at a time, and then they had to be quarantined for a couple days before another student could use them. So it was a real bummer, and it was hard to do. But also your digital resources aren't going anywhere. For as much as you want to chuck your devices out the window, you're tired of them, but they're not going anywhere. So you get to be creative between traditional resources that you could print or touch and your digital activities. So I'm going to show you how to use a combination of both the digital resources and printable worksheets for your literacy centers that will still be fun and engaging for your kiddos, but also time efficient for you. So let's start with reader's response. I like to have my students have a book in one hand and a device in the other. I've always done it that way. And one of the ways I use both technology and a paper and a pencil task is through reader's response. So it's important to have your students respond to what they're reading, even if they're independently reading at their library. What it does is it will promote more reading for their classmates who are excited to read the books that their friends are enjoying. It's also going to help them understand what they've read, of course. If you ask them a question about it that they answer, you're just going to promote more understanding. But a benefit you might not have thought about is it holds them accountable at their literacy centers. So if you have your students at your library center, for example, or reading comprehension center, whatever you'd like to call it, and they're reading and they know that you're going to check for their response, they're going to do it because they know that you are expecting it. So I found that there was less pretend reading when I made sure that they knew they had to do a response. So with reader's response, there's information coming in and a response going out. So in and out. And I pick which one I'd like to be digital and which one I'd like to be paper and pencil tasks. So maybe the information coming in can be digital and their response can be paper and pencil task, or their information coming in can be a book or text and their response going out will be something digital. So usually I would prefer the information coming in to be printed text. Not always, it just depends on the situation. But in my classroom library, I've always tried to include different forms of text, letters, magazines, even menus, kids' menus, things like that. Then I'll have them respond through that, either their book or the text that they've read through their devices. And I like to use Seesaw for this a lot. It's my favorite platform. And so I like to have them do a book shelfie where they take a picture of the book or the text that they're reading and then record their thoughts about it. Now, I always give them a prompt as well. Otherwise, they just say they love the book and they tell you every little detail about it, and it's not really responding as far as their text or anything like that. So whichever skill we're reviewing that week, that's our prompt. And you can do main idea, you can do compare and contrast the two characters in the book, or maybe even compare and contrast the ending of the book to the beginning of the book. How did the characters change? Anything like that. You can summarize the book, etc. So you'll find that this helps your kiddos tell you more about the book than they probably could write out in a notebook. Especially your kids who struggle with writing, this is going to be a really good way to gauge their understanding of what they read in the text. Now let's talk about the other way where the information coming in is digital and then the response is paper and pencil. So if you're using an online book platform like Epic, or if your school has Raz Kids or another kind of online platform for books, that's a good way to have the text come in for your students. The information comes in. Then you'll want to use a paper and a pencil task for them to respond to what they read. I stopped using notebooks a long time ago for readers' response, unless we would take our notebooks and maybe glue interactive notebooks into our binders. But I found a whole piece of paper was just, one, too intimidating for the kids, and two, not really something that was going to get a quick or a quality response from them anyway. My kids usually filled up the whole paper with, pictures or really big words, and I really didn't see what they gleaned from the text. So I used sticky notes instead. So I have sticky notes. I have a sticky note shelf right there. My husband Eric says that we need a line item in our taxes for sticky notes, and he's probably right. I can't live without these things, so I have them all over the place. My next door neighbor actually came over to play with our dog Molly. They don't come over to play with me because I'm lame, but they'll come over for Molly, and saw my sticky notes everywhere, and he asked me if I made myself a chore chart. It's very, very cute, and really it pretty much was an adult chore chart made with sticky notes. So anyway, but I figured out if you give your kiddos a small area to work with, instead of the long piece of paper, you're going to get the response that you want. It also helps with grading. It's easier to spot check 20 little sticky notes than read 20 some notebook pages. So I would mark off a space by my classroom library, maybe with a decorative border, and just kind of paste it up there, or we'll use sticky tack to make an area for them to place their notes when they're done for the week. Now you can use these plain sticky notes, just plain ones, with a prompt. Maybe you post it in your library, or you can print your prompts on your sticky note. Let me see if I can get it so you see it. There it is. So you can print right on your sticky notes. What? So I made templates for you to use for your reading skills, and you can print them right onto your sticky notes like this one. This one's main idea. There are 15 different types of skills. These are actually free for you. You can download them using the link in the description of this video, or you can go to teachingfirsties.com/sticky/notes. So you can get those for free today, and you can use those for a paper and a pencil task in your listening or your reading center. But let's go to listening centers. That's where my brain was going next. So when I first got my classroom set of iPads, I began using them for my listening stations before I introduced them anywhere else. And it's because I had this old clunky CD and tape player combo. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? The big machine, and you have to switch the little thing back and forth between CD and tape, and I hated that thing. The CD always seemed to skip, and the cassette player, the tapes were never rewound, or they would jam up in there, and you had to get a pen and twist them up in there. And you would try to have, a student that could be the helper student and have them troubleshoot, but that was tough because they didn't know what to do. But it was the school's device, and it was expensive, and so I really thought I needed to use it. I felt obligated to do that, so I kept using it. But then one day, one of my kiddos got up and walked away with the headphones still on, and like a little poor broken puppy, it just followed her, clanging along on the floor, and she felt horrible, of course. And with lots of hugs and reassurance later, she was fine. But deep down inside, I don't think I ever told her this, but I was really glad because I was ready to get rid of that thing. I just needed an excuse. So I started using my devices instead. We had a whole class set of iPads, and I found the YouTube channel Storytime Online, and I would have them use that for their listening centers instead. So we were off to the races. And I figured out how to use a QR code for them to make for my students so they could scan the code and then listen to the story right away. It was so easy. So, that's similar to the reader's response. The information coming in was digital. It was through YouTube channels or read alouds. And the responses that you could have going out can be a paper and a pencil task, like a book review, or like these sticky notes that you can, don't forget, you can get these from the link in the video as well. So that's a good way to blend traditional activities and digital activities for your listening center. So let's talk spelling. I've been making a lot of digital spelling games lately. It's easier for kids to practice their spelling words with the online spelling games that are out there. But you're going to want to make sure you're having them write their spelling words out as well, because we've been home, everyone's been doing everything virtual learning, and so there hasn't been a lot of paper and a pencil spelling tasks. So for a spelling center, I would next year start with as much paper and pencil tasks as possible first, and then use spelling games when you're done. Maybe you can say, this is the first thing you need to do, and then when you're done, you can play these spelling games that we have. I like to post the spelling list for the week and then have them write out their words, or you make sentences with their words. I also like to have them use magnet letters or cubes, some kind of manipulative, so they're actively building their words. And then you can give them their devices where they can play a spelling game online for, for when they're finished. So you can give them something on Google Slides or Boom Learning to do something digital as well. So that's another good way to blend your digital activities with your traditional paper and pencil tasks. So I hope that this was helpful to you. I hope you came away with some ways to blend both digital and a paper and pencil task in your literacy stations. If this was helpful for you, please click the like button so it'll be shown to more teachers just like you. The like button never really is a vanity score to me. I don't check it. I don't say, oh, so many teachers like my button, liked my video, but YouTube sees that you like it, and so they will show it to more teachers, and that way I can help more people just like you. So don't forget to download the sticky note template. The link is on the screen, but also in the descriptions in the description for this video as well. So I will see you next time. Bye.